What's going on, everybody? I'm Chad Reed. This is Forge Mentality. Here with my daughter Callie today. She wanted to sit in my lap. Um, Good girl, wave hi to your fans. I'm sure you have some by now. This is what, your third video? Today's video is on mixed signals. Do women really care about a man's feelings, thoughts, and emotions? I'm 39 years old. I've mentioned that a few times before in past videos. I started dating young, and I gave up my virginity at a very young age, younger than the vast majority, I'd imagine. I was 12. Back then, that wasn't very common. I'm sure nowadays there's way more 12-year-olds losing their virginity, but I have a large amount of experience with sex and with dating, and to be clear, my position, I prefer committed relationships vastly over just purely sexual encounters. The reason I tell you this is because sex or exclusivity in a long-term relationship, they need a different approach. When it's sex, just sexual, and there's no connection other than that, and that's all it's going to be, then women for sure do not really care about a man's emotions, feelings, or thoughts, unless it pertains to the bedroom. But what about in a relationship? It used to be in a healthy relationship that you wanted to go the distance, a great deal of communication was required. You talk about your goals as a couple, individually, short term at first, and then you talk about long-term goals as the relationship progresses. You would talk about issues inside and outside of the relationship, and if there was an issue in the relationship that was possibly detrimental to the relationship and it threatened to end the relationship completely, you would talk about it openly and honestly with each other. And you would sometimes talk about it for hours, and then hopefully you could work it out, and you'd be stronger as a couple for it. But now it's like, if there's any type of issue, couples break up because it's so easy to find a new partner, right? You just look online and there you go. Well, it didn't used to be that way. But now women are asking men to communicate more, to open up, and to be vulnerable. And those ideals are great, but that's not really what women want, I find out. When this happens, because women tend to run away, even if that's what they say that they want. See, women always ask men for these things, but when men do these things, it's the opposite of what you really want from that man. I've seen a great deal of TikToks, videos of women recording their man being vulnerable or laying with them and cuddling, and they try to expose the man for the very thing that you asked for him for in order to gain clout. I'll tell you, it's bad enough lying about what you want, but if you're making TikToks at your partner's expense for doing what you asked of them, then you're just probably the lowest level quality of person out there. Straight gutter. Why would you try to sabotage a really good and pure moment in order to gain fame? Are you really that thirsty for fame that you're going to call your character into jeopardy over it? And that was, I know that's not most women, but it's something I wanted to address, like a little mini rant. But ladies, if you want a man to show his emotions and feelings and to bare his soul to you, then don't run away when he does it, because it makes you look like a punk, honestly, when you do that. See, men are conditioned by other men and by women and society as a whole not to show any emotions or feelings or pain. We're supposed to basically just be robots and wallets, and that's not correct. That's not right. I like to relate the subject matter to my own personal experiences, if I have any, in that subject. I like to share them, so I'll share a little bit of a story with you right now. I was recently talking with a woman, long distance, who I went to school with. Originally, I intended only to catch up with her, but it was very clear that she wanted a lot more. Due to PTSD, the real actual PTSD, not the overused version that everybody goes around saying for every little thing, because she was actually in the Army, she forgot a lot about what happened before and people from that time. And so she kind of, forgot me. So it was my chance to reintroduce myself. You know, it's like 20 years later, so of course we definitely changed in that period of time. So I didn't take too much stock into it. You know, we had dated in grade school, and then before that, even we dated in kindergarten. And our parents did drugs together, and so we would spend time together in their living room while our parents were off doing drugs. So there was like a familiarity there, but talking to her, I actually, you know, grew to love her. The distance was a problem, but she wanted to move to Ohio for us to get a house and all these things, and she initiated all these talks, the visits up here in the meantime, and I even offered to fund all of the first visit and half of the following visits. To her, I was supposedly everything she wanted. As we talked, I opened up to her. We talked for about 4 months. I went and even got a second job, so this way, you know, we can afford to, you know, get things together to get the ball rolling for this future that we were gonna have together, supposedly. And all that ended because she wanted to tell me that we were done over text while I was in that second job. It really devastated me for a few days, for sure. Am I over her? No, you know, I don't know. Um, you know, if she ever came back into my life, her apology would have to be just as high as her disrespect to me was for me to even consider talking to her again. So I'm pretty sure it's over with, and that's fine with me. And I'm pretty sure a big reason was because I opened up to her, you know, my emotions, my feelings, and, you know, other things. Like she would text me, you know, and I'd text her back pretty quickly because I don't like to be ghosted. I feel like it's rude, it's a waste of people's time, and I don't like to waste people's time, especially my own. But yeah, so she texted me while I was at the second job and told me it was over with. And I'm fairly sure it's because I opened up to her. She said we were moving too fast, which is the classical generic excuse, but she's the one who set the pace, right? She's the one that came up with the plans to come up here. She's the one that came up with the plans for a house. She even had plans for future beyond that, where we moved to Florida to be near her mother. And I agreed to all of that because it sounded great. It sounded like she was serious, and that's what I'm looking for. Now, she was, and I believe she still is, in a toxic relationship with a dude who doesn't love her. You know, he steals from her. He steals her pain medication, which she has because she has metal plates and things, braces in her back. So she got pain pills, and the dude would steal them. He would open up new, you know, accounts under her name, things like that. And one of the worst things of all is he hadn't had sex with her for a few years. And he left her to pay almost all the bills because he spent most of his money on his pill addiction. Well, I guess he supposedly found out that we were talking, and I was ready to make a move right there. And she was ready to let me go for this dude who is definitely underneath me in, you know, in terms of quality of person. So it all boils down to most women love playing these types of games, and what I feel in her case it will lead to is she will probably stay with that dude for a few more years as he promises to change, just as he has promised to change in the past. She's going to remain unhappy as she moves through her 40s. Yeah, she had a ton of red flags, but, you know, really at our age, really there's not going to be anybody who doesn't. Let's just be honest and serious about that. You know, she was married a few times, like 3 times, and she was with another person long enough for it to be common law, so 4 times technically. I bypassed these flags because she admitted that she was the problem in some of these cases, and I'm sorry, ladies, but accountability really isn't your strong suit, and so that was unique. And, you know, after she had mentioned these things, she said that she wasn't like other women. And that's something most women say is they're not like other women. But she showed me that she wasn't like other women. And so I believed it. But the reason I'm telling you the story in this video is because, you know, she would tell me about her day, her feelings, and things that pissed her off. And I would sit there and listen because it was mostly stuff about the dude she's with. But when it was my turn to talk about my issues, she would get kind of distant if I would talk for too long. She would kind of play video games all, throughout the calls and not really pay much attention to me. So women, when you say you want this or that, then you get those things. Why does it make you unhappy? You're unhappy if the said request is met or disregarded. So if the true lesson here is that you're never happy, then I have to say the problem really probably isn't with men, but it would lie with most women. My longest relationships I've ever had were when I didn't divulge hardly anything, hardly any emotions whatsoever. I just keep them to myself. I just keep grinding, at work and keep myself occupied, because if my emotions didn't matter, they just didn't matter, and that was it. And that was my 6-year marriage. I never showed any emotions really, but it ended with me being abused in several ways, emotionally, financially, things like that. And then now in a 10-year relationship with someone else who for the first 5 years of the relationship I didn't express or show a single emotion except to tell her that I loved her and that I cared about her and I was there for her and things like that. She would brag at work how great the relationship was because we never fought in those 5 years. And I could go 8 times a day in the bedroom if she asked me to. It really isn't a problem. It still isn't a problem, even 10 years later. But the problems never started until I expressed my concerns, my feelings and thoughts. So then that's when the arguments started, right? Because I wasn't just not saying anything, that she took that as agreement for whatever it is she wanted. When I'd start saying things back, that's when it would start causing problems. And that's not right. So the reason I'm kind of telling you these stories is that I'm showing you that this is a pattern among many women. And I have more, but this is long enough. I think I've proven my point. So that's pretty much it. That's all I really have. Basically, you just need to decide, ladies, what is it you want from men? Do you want to know how they're feeling? Do you really genuinely care about their thoughts and, their emotions and concerns? Are those actually things that you care about? Because if they are, and they express those things, don't run away, because that's just ick, right? That's the word you ladies use now, is the ick. That's completely ick. So why don't you just be honest what you want? Stop trying to be enigmas. It's not working out for you, and it's going to leave you single, and you're going to be 40, 50 years old, surrounded by pets and dudes who only value you to smash. If that's what you want, cool. But if you're actually looking for an open and honest dialogue with somebody that you love and respect, and that loves and respects you, then maybe stop it with the emotional games a little bit, huh? But I appreciate your time for watching this. I just got off work and couldn't fall asleep. It's 6:50 a.m. right now while I'm recording this. So if you appreciate what I'm doing, if you appreciate the channel, then consider subscribe. But either way, I appreciate you for watching this. And I'm Chad Reed. This is Forge Mentality. There'll be another video in 3 days. Do you want to say bye? Yeah. Okay, come on. Come say bye. Hurry, real quick. All right, Callie, say bye.
Bye.
Who do you have there? Is that Curious George?
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Mwah. Mwah. All right. You should be sleeping. All right. I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching. There'll be another video in 3 days. Peace.